in today. We just wanted to go over some of the new rules and regulations for the program. Some of the procedures have changed. And every decision that we have made is for your safety, for staff safety and for student safety. Everybody knows there's social distancing and masks, and I appreciate you guys both came in with masks or grabbed one on the way in. So we are going to go very explicitly through the procedures that we're gonna follow this year. So just remember, when we are doing this, it is for your safety that we're keeping in mind. All right, so we are going to go through a day in the life of a RAP student. So we are going to walk you through what you will do each day when you arrive in the morning. So all students and staff will follow social distancing guidelines while in the building. And social distancing is 6 feet apart and a face covering on. That can be a mask or it can be a shield. And we'll get into that a little bit later. So that is what we are trying to do, and that's why you are seated where you are seated. Ms. Davis brought her tape measure, and we were measuring and made sure everybody was 6 feet apart for everybody's safety. So we want to ensure your safety. All right, so when you arrive, you will walk in the main entrance. In the past, you've been able to walk in both entrances. All students and staff will walk in the main entrance. As you walk in, you will be expected to have a face covering on. If you do not have your own face covering, there are disposable masks down there that you would put on immediately upon entering. After you do that, then you're going to hand sanitize. There's foam on the wall, or there's the squirt bottle that's right there on the table. So before you walk down the hall, you're going to do that. Once you get in the building, you're masked or shielded, and you hand sanitize, you come directly down to the RAP center, the RAP program. So when you come down to the RAP program, you are going to enter through room 134, which is the room with the carols, the furthest one from the main entrance. Go all the way past these two doors, go in the last door. Everyone's going to enter the program through room 134. And we're gonna call that kind of like your home base. That's where your material's gonna stay, that's where you're going to enter from, that's just gonna be kind of the new procedure. Once you come into room 134, you're going to gather your materials you need for first class, and you're also going to get your Chromebook at that time. You guys will be carrying your Chromebook with you all day long, because Mr. Dillon's going to talk about it a little bit later, but we are doing things more digitally just to make it easier on you guys and us, and if we would have to go virtual, we have practice with that. So you're going to do that, and then you will report to your first period class with those materials. Class starts at 8:10. It's a little different. So you will need to be in your seat, in your assigned room at 8:10 with materials, Chromebook, and of course you'll have your mask or your shield on. Okay. Any questions so far? Awesome. Take it away, Mr. Dillon.
So I know you'll have a preference as to whether you want to wear a mask or a shield. The district is providing shields for you. So if you prefer to wear the shield, you're welcome to do so. When you come in the building, you do have to have the mask on, come into room 134. The green shelf unit is where we're gonna have a shield for you. We'll have your name on it, so you can change out if you want to, and then you can put your mask in your pocket, or you can leave it in your space on the shelf. And then at the end of the day, when you're leaving, we'll ask you to switch back where you leave the shield here, because that won't go home, but then put your mask back on, and then you can leave the building. But that's gonna be an option. You can wear both if you want to. That's up to you as well, okay? As far as class time goes, you are gonna notice that we do have, as Mrs. Stode said, the room spaced out. You'll see that there is a little sticker in front of you, and it has a chair and an arrow. Those are designated places for students to sit. And within the classroom, we will actually be assigning seats, so that way we have a seating chart, we know where students are. If we ever need to do the contact tracing, then we know where each student has been throughout the day in this case. And that's just for your safety and for us to be able to figure that out. Please make sure that when you do get into the classroom, you do have your materials, you do have your Chromebooks. We're trying to limit student movement as much as possible. Again, we do have a pattern flow from 134 going this way down and around. Bathroom, in the past, when have we asked you to use the bathroom?
During break time.
Yes, during break time, we've said in the past. This year, we're changing that up a little bit. So we're gonna ask that you do not use the bathroom during break time, which we're gonna refer to as transition time. Instead, we want you to use the bathroom during class time. So that's a little bit different, but during class time, if you need to use the restroom, please ask. And then one student per room will get to leave to use the restroom. When you use the restroom, again, please be courteous, don't take a lot of time, take care of what you need to take care of, and then come back into the room. We are gonna ask that you come back in the door that you left from. So if you're in this classroom, you use the restroom, you would head out this door, use the restroom, you would come back in this door into the room that you left from. So that's a little bit different than when we enter in the morning, because the morning is 1:34. Face coverings, during class time, with the face covering, we're gonna ask that you keep that on, whether it's the shield or the mask. We will take breaks throughout the day, so each period will have a mask break. For the mask break, what we're gonna do is we have to make sure that students are seated in their assigned spot, they're not up moving around, and then the instructor will let you know that you can take your mask off, and it will be for a certain amount of time. And then the instructor will let you know when to put your mask back on, okay? So we do know it gets a little stuffy, and we get a little stuffy as well, but we will have those mask breaks. Independent study assignments. In this case, we're gonna continue with what we started on fourth term, where we had the Google Docs that were shared. So we're gonna ask that you enter in your answers from your packet and from your review into that Google Doc as well, because that's shared with all of us, all the instructors, and we'll be able to check it that way, and we're not moving papers around as much. And if by chance we end up where we're not able to meet face to face, then you already have the practice you're already familiar with, and we would just continue that where you would do that from home in that case. As far as tests go, what we're gonna do is we will start off with paper tests. So if you do need a test, ask us, we'll get the test. It'll be a paper copy, you'll fill it out, you'll turn it back in. In the event that we do end up where we can't meet face to face, then we'll switch it over to the Google Doc format, which we did fourth term, and you'll be able to take your tests via the Google Doc in this case. Any questions over that? Nope. Excellent. At the end of each class period, we're gonna ask that students do take care of their spot. So we're gonna ask that you sanitize. So you're gonna notice we have a tub of wipes. So we'll just ask you to take 1 or 2 wipes. So you wipe down the surface, and we're also gonna ask you to wipe down your chair. And we'll have time at the end of each period where you'll be able to do that. So that way it's ready for the next person to come in. We'd also suggest when you come into a spot, your spot, that you just wipe it down, just in case as well. As already alluded to, we do have a new schedule this year. So our start time is a little different. It's gonna be 8:10 instead of 8:30, so we do expect you to be here at 8:10. And again, this lines up more with Kirkwood and the academies. And you're gonna notice that instead of 6 periods, we actually have 4 periods. And these periods are gonna run 90 minutes long. Yes, that's a good chunk of time, but please remember, we will have the mask break in there. And we'll also do a stretch break to kind of get you up, moving around a little bit. So we understand it's a good chunk of time, but we will work through it, and we'll get you as energized as we can. You will notice that we also have 2 transition times. Instead of referring to them as break, we have transition times. And then there's also a lunch time in here. The lunch time has been shortened a little bit more, and Ms. Gilchrist will talk about that as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at our transition times, and I'll explain that a little bit more. For transition times, it is a total of 10 minutes, but it is broken down into 5-minute increments. So what we're gonna have happen here is we wanna make sure that we maintain social distancing, and we're just trying to eliminate having everybody out in the hallway at one time, or, crossing each other's paths. So for the transition time, we're going to release certain rooms at a certain time for 5 minutes in the hallway, and then they will come back in, and then the other half the population, student population, will go into the hallway for 5 minutes. So the way it will look is, for example, this room, room 134, and then half of the middle room, 128. When it's transition time, we'll have them get up, we'll exit through these doors in the hallway. You can stretch your legs. If the vending machine is up and running, you can grab something from the vending machine. They do ask that if it is running, that you wipe down the pad before and after you use it. And then when the 5 minutes is up, we'll go down to the door 134, and there's that pump foam on the wall. You can go ahead and use that, but we'll have you come in 134. And then you'll grab your items that you need for the next class, and then we'll have you head to where your next class is. So while you're doing that from these rooms, when you're coming back in, the other half, the students that are in room 134 and then the half of 128 will get up. They have cleaned their spot. They will come down to these rooms and they will exit to the hallway for 5 minutes in the hallway, and then we'll do the same thing. So you do get 10 minutes of a break time. We're just asking that 5 minutes you're in your seat. You can be on your phone, that's fine, we don't have a problem with that. But we just ask that you're seated, not up, moving around. And then the other 5 minutes, you're in the hallway stretching and then heading back in. We want to make sure that we do get back in on time so that the other groups can get going, and then we can also get our classes started when we need to. So there is a flow for the classrooms during the morning and also during transition times. And the flow is room 134, in and then out these doors. Okay? And that'll change towards the end of the day, and Ms. Gilchrist will talk about that as well.
All right, so now we're going to talk about our favorite thing in the whole world, lunch. So lunch is going to look a little bit different this year, and one of the reasons is because the goal is for us to keep you a social distance from other people, and so that in the event that someone got sick and you're around them as little as possible. So when you come in the morning, we will not have those sign-up sheets that we normally have. Instead, we're going to ask you, would you like a lunch? So the lunch will all be the same. They will put all the materials, all the things that we need, ketchup, mustard, anything that you would need for your lunch, ranch, it's going to actually be in the same container. So we're going to have you stay in your seat in period 2, and that's going to become where you're going to eat. So in the morning you're going to come in, we're going to say, would you like lunch and what's your milk choice? And then we'll take lunch that way. You'll need to get that in. We'll have to send it to the district by 9:40, so you'll want to make sure if you want a hot lunch that day, you will order it first thing. There will be no choices, so we won't have the option of a different entree. They may do that later on in the year, but right now you get a lunch, you get what you get, and so we will have the menu for you so you'll know what the entree is. So we'll send that in at 9:40. Lunch will be eaten in period 2 classroom, as I said, and we will have everyone sit for 10 minutes. So if you choose to order lunch, you'll have that 10 minutes to eat your lunch. We'll have our masks off, so we'll have to make sure we're sitting in place so that we're social distance for safety. If you decide not to order lunch that day, you still will sit for those 10 minutes. We're not gonna have anyone get up and move. And the reason is because down front, we're not allowed to be down there and kind of hang out. There really is nowhere for you to go. If you choose not to eat, and if you are eating, you're welcome to be on your phone, you're welcome to use that time, just a little bit of downtime. But everybody will sit for 10 minutes just to make sure that there's social distance. Another thing that's a little different this year is refrigerator. It's gonna be off limits for students. So you won't be able to put anything in the refrigerator, store anything in the fridge. When you're finished with your lunch, we won't be able to save anything. You'll have to throw everything away. And we're also not gonna be able to trade during lunchtime. So whatever you order is yours, and if you choose not to eat it, you're gonna need to throw it away. We won't be able to save anything. And that's just for cleanliness and make sure that we're keeping safe. Any questions about that? All right, microwave. If you do happen to bring your lunch, and you're welcome to, you'll need to put an ice pack. Just like younger kiddos in middle school, there is nowhere to store your lunch. You'll need to put an ice pack in and keep it with you. You're welcome to eat that at that lunchtime too. There will be no microwave unless there's a necessity. So if you bring a soup or something, you'll need to talk to the instructor in your room and say, may I use the microwave? We want to do as little moving around as possible, but the microwave is available as long as you talk to the instructor in your room. At the end of lunch, before transition, students are going to wipe out their spot, that's the table and chair, using sanitizing wipes, and take and dispose of their lunch in the room that they're in. So during lunch, normally we can move back and forth. We're gonna ask that you stay in the place. And then transition time will be broken up into 5-minute increments over a 10-minute period, like Mr. Dillon stated. You get the full 10 minutes, it's just 5 in and 5 out, so we'll get a chance to stretch your legs. Our refrigerator will also not have any extra ketchup or mustard or anything, so we're asking the kitchen if you order French fries, we're asking that they just put everything in, assume that you'll need ketchup, but we won't be able to do trading. Any questions about lunch? Lunch ticket's the same, fee introduced still follows you, everything is the same in terms of your lunch account.
This is all new, and it feels like it's just so different. Remember, as I stated at the beginning, we're doing this for your safety, for our safety, for safety of all the students in the program. Every building has a lot of guidelines like this, so this is not just unique for our program. We're following both Washington's guidelines and we're following Kirkwood's guidelines. So just understand that. It's gonna feel different for the first week, and then you're gonna settle into a routine.
And the most important thing is, we all got a chance to know what it's like to be homeschooled and stay at home. And for some of us, that was really hard. So we are just very, very fortunate that we actually can be back together and use this time together to get our work and get our credits. So that's really the goal, is to stay together in school as long as we can and as safe and healthy as we possibly can. All right, dismissal. So last year you were dismissed by room by the instructor. That will still maintain. One thing is, when we get ready to go at the end of the day, you're gonna have your Chromebook with you. So say I'm sitting here with this sticker. My Chromebook's with me and all my materials. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take my Chromebook, I'm gonna log out of my Google Docs, close it down, I'm gonna shut the case. Then I'm gonna take a sanitizing wipe, which will be given to you. You're gonna wipe out the outside case of your Chromebook, your seat, your area where you've been working, so everything is clean. Because remember, we're cleaning in, we're also cleaning out. You're gonna leave that Chromebook right there. You are gonna take your materials with you, and we're gonna do a staggered release. So room 134 will do cleaning, put their things away. Then we're gonna do the middle room. It's gonna be reversed. So the path in the morning is, you come in 134 and we move this way. At the end, we're just gonna kind of reverse it. But we're gonna do it maintaining social distancing so that we are safe. And then, yes, Maddie?
Will we still go out the front doors at the end of the day, or is it switched?
So we are, the bus, if you're gonna ride a bus, then the bus is gonna pick up here. So you would go this way to catch the bus.
Okay.
If you are a car person and your car's in here, you may exit the north doors.
Okay.
Awesome question. So yeah, but we're gonna do it kind of in like slow, so that it's not a glut of people. And then we'll go slow, and everyone will get a chance to clean up and wipe in, and then we'll go ahead and clean out. And so if you do have someone waiting for you in the parking lot, yeah, we'll dismiss you that way.
Okay.
And so one thing that's a little different is, in 134, everyone's gonna have an assigned space. You can keep your books there. We're gonna ask that you not keep food there. So you can keep your books there, keep your materials. And if you go to your green shelf, say you have on your shields are gonna stay here. So you can put your shield in your space and wipe it down. And then you can take your disposable mask until you get outside. Or keep it in your pocket, but you always have to have something on, some kind of face shield or covering in this building. We ask that you not take those shields home, because they're a little on the expensive side, and we wanna make sure it's available for you tomorrow. Any questions about that?
I did want to mention that if students are riding the school bus to school, there's only one bus that's coming out to the RAP Center, Kirkwood Center, and that is at 7:45 in the morning. It will be leaving from the high school. So if you are interested in riding the bus out, you will need to be to the high school by 7:45. And then they will drop you off, as Ms. Gilchrist said, front door, and they will pick you up at the front door.
And after school, there'll be a 3 o'clock bus that'll go back to the high school. So if you need to catch that, that'll be the time. And again, we'll pick up at the front entrance. They won't be using the drop-off pickup on the back entrance.
And the other thing too that we need to all remember is, things, as you know, have changed dramatically, and things change sometimes weekly. So what we're gonna ask that you be is flexible this year, and just kind of go with the flow and be happy we're together and get as much done as you possibly can.
have a PE class this year. So if you need PE credits, then anything that you do, any activities you do outside of school will count, like skateboarding, biking, walking the dog, swimming, whatever. You'll have logs to keep and then turn those in to Mr. Dillon. Okay. Face coverings are required all the time that you're in the Kirkwood building. And remember to keep your nose covered, that's also a part of your face, and I've been seeing in the news that it's an important part, it's more important than your mouth even, really, to keep covered, because more bacteria can come and go there. And the bottle filling station will be open out here at the water fountain, but the water fountain itself will be turned off for safety. Each student will be assigned your own computer, so like if you would have number 10, you'll have number 10 all year. We won't be having group sessions this year, to start with anyway, because we can't all get together, and the same with guest speakers. We won't be having our morning meetings either, but you will be getting an email second period from Ms. Gilchrist, and she'll be giving you your announcements and any reminders and stuff like at that time. Are you registered for school? That's something that we need to make sure that everybody has gotten registered. And we will not be allowing any visitors into the RAP Center this year. Any questions? And we have a contract for you to read and sign.
So you can see you have a contract in front of you, it's going over the things that we have discussed. The contract states, I have been informed of and understand the new procedures at RAP to maintain a safe environment. I understand the importance of keeping myself and others safe, therefore I will follow all procedures of safety. I will assess my health every day before attending school. If anyone needs a thermometer, if you don't have one at your house, let me know, I can get you one. But you will need to monitor your temperature. If you feel hot, feel like you're feverish, you need to take your temperature at home. And if you have any other symptoms, sore throat, itchy eyes, there's lots and lots of different symptoms. So make sure that you are aware. If you are feeling ill, do not come. Make sure you engage in and promote social distancing. I will follow transition flows in Kirkwood and the RAP Center. I will wear provided face shield or mask at all times, and remember that this would be school appropriate, as you probably would guess. I will sanitize in and out of my space in each room. I will follow classroom and lunch procedures. I will sit in assigned space daily. And I will not share materials, foods, beverages, or other items. And then we're asking you to sign this, if you agree to this, and date it, and today is the 26th. Thank you.
Glad somebody knows. Next week we will.
It was my birthday yesterday, so.
Aw.
Happy belated birthday.
Hey, Ms. Gilchrist might have something
I
for you.
do. I was so excited about these.
What questions do you guys have for us? Does it make sense?
Yes.
And again, our ultimate goal is just to make sure that everybody's safe. That's why these procedures are in place, that's why we've made these changes. We just wanna make sure everybody's safe so we can get our academics done, once we're all safe.
And just so you know, the school district worked hard this summer to get things in place. If we were to have a student that tested positive, we have letters ready to go. And that's what Mr. Dillon was talking about, contact tracing. So that would be any students that were within 6 feet of that student for 15 consecutive minutes at a time. So that's why we have you over 6 feet apart, so we don't have to worry about that. So that is all set up. We hope we don't have to use it, but also, we would not tell you, if somebody tested positive, we would not tell you that the student was positive, and we would ask that you not ask students who were gone, you know, why they're gone, because that's their business, not the rest of ours, so. And then if a student or a staff member was exposed to someone who was positive, then there's different protocols for that. So we have those protocols, and you would get, have a contact from either me or Tish at the high school, or Mr. Buchholz, and also from public health, or your parent would, to give you guidelines of how to follow that. So, like I said, I hope we don't need to use it, but it's good to know for you guys that there are procedures in place.
So if you come across a family member who did test positive or suspects that they do have COVID-19, you need to give us a call. Please don't come in. Please give us a call, and we'll give you further directions as to what you need to do depending on the circumstance, or we'll put you in contact with someone who can make that decision. But if you're sick, we don't want you here. We do want you to communicate with us. So if you do have your cell phone, we can give you the cell phone number. You want to jot it down so you can write it on that piece of paper. It is 653-7378. Make sure your parents have that number, and also if your parents change their phone numbers over the summer, or where you're living, or any of that information, we'll need to be able to contact them. So just give us that update next week.
If you want a handbook, you can have one. If you don't want one,
It's not changed very much from last year. This is the primary changes. We had a separate sheet, so.
no takers?
Thank
We're
you.
good? All right.
What other questions do you have for us?
What if a student were to go on vacation or out of state temporarily, what would they have to do to come back to school? Would they have to quarantine for 2 weeks before they came back, or?
That would be something we would check with public health. At this point, the only thing that they are saying, the only people that they need, that will need to quarantine at this time are if you're out of country.
Okay.
I just had a public health,
Okay.
webinar last night.
And
so.
once again, Maddie, it does change frequently. So if you have a circumstance like that, just let us know, and we'll touch base with who we need to, the professionals who make those decisions,
Okay.
because everything is fluid and changes. A good question, though.
And as far as attendance goes, we still will follow the three strike offense policy. But if it's something, if you're absent due to a COVID reason, that would be time that we would not count against. But if it's just, you've gone for, you got a cold or something like that, then that would be, or if you had an appointment outside the school, or you can schedule outside the school day, we would count that as well, just like in the past.
So are we still doing the hours?
Yep, 30 hours.
Okay.
Good question.
Any other questions?
And once again, if anything, as always, comes up and you're questioning it, your parents are questioning, your guardians, call the phone number on the front, and we'll address it as we need to.
So we'll see both of you before 8:10 on Monday.
With your materials, if you didn't bring them to us today, and Chromebook if you have one checked out.
Okay.
All right, and we'll take the contracts back, and the other sheet you can take with you. Remember, we're gonna practice your wiping down, so take a thingy and sanitizing, wipe your seat, your area, your pen, all those things.
And we'll see you Monday at 8:10. Have a great weekend.